In this episode, we're exploring the White Knob ghost town and the Mackay mine operation. The primary commodities were lead, zinc, and silver. The ghost town sprung to life after the discovery of silver in 1901. Streets were lined with bustling businesses, including saloons, general stores, and boarding houses. The sound of machinery echoed through the narrow valleys as miners worked tirelessly underground. Prosperity in White Knob was often fleeting. The boom-bust cycles inherent in the mining industry meant that fortunes could change in an instant. When metal prices plummeted, the once thriving town would immediately feel the effects. As the years passed, the population slowly and steadily began to decline, and by the 1970s, the town was completely abandoned. Join us as we explore what remains of this once thriving ghost town. This is the first level of buildings at the Mackay mine. I believe this is a production site. As we go up, we should be finding houses along with a couple other operations. And it looks like some sort of workshop slash milling operation. There's a couple of foundations where you'd put some big, huge piece of equipment. This was a silver mine. Had a couple commodities, silver, gold, ore. Interesting enough, there's signage. I wasn't expecting signage when I was going to be checking this town out. I did my research, but I didn't know it was like one of those places where they actually put advertising and stuff. But this is apparently a tunnel right here. I don't think we could get into it. It's going to be barred up. And you can pause the screen, read the history. Really neat place. What I like is these old photos. Some of the miners from the tunnel. And that's that newly constructed compressor building. So that's a compressor building. Very interesting looking. We'll go look at that tunnel in just a second. It's fairly empty, not a lot left behind. I didn't actually know about these lower buildings till the day today when I was coming out to check them out. All I know about was the upper ones. So that's what I'm really excited about. And of course, walls are buckling. There's erosion coming in, unfortunately. That's what happens. Just look how close the mountainside is to this building, you know? You just back it up onto it. Going forward is the very small one. Oh yeah, some other ruins too. Cool. Have a look in here. Nothing behind. They took everything out. I like that. They nailed all of this. Maybe as a storage room. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe this is a storage room. It looks a lot like one. Because every mine operation always had some small equipment room, you know? Just to put miscellaneous. Then coming up, the final building on this side. But this trail continues, interestingly enough. Small little shack looking one. Not quite sure what they would have used it for. Log cabin style. Maybe it was someone's home. I don't know if any of the miners lived up in this section or not. They very well could have. But that's kind of just backed up into the woods. Back at the main part of this operation because I continued hiking on that little trail. And there's just those two buildings that we looked at. That was it. We're about to wrap up this part and head up the mountain to see the upper sections. Of course, I didn't forget about this building. We'll have a look at that. And a tunnel. Sometimes people are nice and they cut the barring on here so you could go in. Warning, entry into the tunnel is prohibited. Yeah. Now, I actually don't know anybody who's actually experienced cave-ins or collapses. Unfortunately, we're not getting in. All locked up and closed. That's okay. Maybe there's some other mines. And then we could head on up. Shouldn't take too long. It's not too much left behind. I do like that we're able to see it while it's still standing, because something tells me this is going to be falling sometime within the next few years. All right, you guys, let's head up. Keep on going. Don't know if you could see it or not, but out in the middle of this woods is an interesting structure. Kind of hidden. I'm sure a lot of people miss it because I almost missed it till I slightly spotted it on Google Maps. I was like, what the heck is that thing? I'm assuming it has to do with the tram line, because the tram line right below us, basically it goes down the mountain in this direction. So it would only make sense if this was part of the tram line as it continues to go up. Let's go check it out. On my way up the mountain, I spotted the housing section of the ghost town, and unfortunately, it is on private property. Perhaps you could see it going down this way, but I wouldn't really spend a lot of time on it anyway, even if it was public, just because it's mainly ruins. There's no standing structures. It's just foundations and pieces of wood scattered about. This is one of the houses that is on the public side. Right behind it's a second house. That's the old attic for it. And then there's this one, foundation. But as you can see, they all just kind of look the same. Just a lot of wood, kind of like junk piles. Really interesting though. I kind of want to go see that one. Okay, let's get out of here. Keep going up. Really neat spot though. This was, I'm guessing, some sort of basement. This was the ore dump platform right down below us. I'm going to drive down and see that lower section pretty soon. This is the Alberta level tunnel and power plant. Now, I wasn't expecting all these signs and whatnot, kind of like a touristy type thing, but it still has an abandoned feel, you know, nothing is maintained. It's not somewhere that a lot of people will come out and visit. Wow, so that was the ore bench. Just look at how long that went. And then the cabin, that was the operation on this side as well. Really difficult to see the reading, but I'm just gonna look at the pictures. That's that view we were looking down, ore chute dump. Super cool. And that's the mine. So we have a mine, couple of buildings. Suzuki's parked behind that one, and it looks like a water tank up that. We'll have to see that too. This one's collapsed in. Just a small room. A lot of this one is gone. I like that this building, it's still standing. We're gonna go inside of it. I'm doubting that there's anything left. That's one unfortunate thing about this operation, is I'm seeing not a lot of stuff left behind. Neat building. I really like this mine operation despite it being so empty. And there's so much to look at too, so we could kind of just rush every one of these little sections of it. This one had 2 rooms, completely gone. Then this one, we could still go inside. That's all there is for the building we're in right now. Now I'm gonna head back on that road, backtrack a little bit. Some cupboards. Let's get out of here. Headed to the rest of this mining operation, and I found some ruins. I think it's a house. Something else that I spotted, which I think is quite interesting, is that they used this tree when building the house. They cut around the wood so that it fits and kind of built into it, and the tree has grown around the wood. That is part of a bed frame buried under this erosion. And I see an old road. Definitely not drivable nowadays. Hasn't been driven in a very long time. Right above the house. We do have this to explore, although beginning I'm going to take this road right below and see the buildings at the bottom of it. Some sort of cookhouse, that's what I'm thinking this was. Looks a lot like one. Maybe a cookhouse and a bunkhouse combined. That is a bunkhouse down below us. And they even had the stairs. Real steep ones. That's awesome. And then the mines, had to climb up to get to them. Now these signs are much more readable. And this was a massive ore bin. Really cool. Went down. So what you're looking at with all this old wood, this was the massive ore bin system from the above operation we looked at. And they would bring it all down here. Pretty much what everybody's been waiting for. We're going inside. I believe there's mines up above us. And private property. I kind of assumed. That's a pretty common occurrence today. Ore bin. It's a huge ore bin. Even though we can't go inside, we can put the camera over. Let me know what you guys could see. Is it neat? Now I'm not gonna see that footage till I edit this video. So you guys know what it looks like. I have no idea. And the size of this ore bin. I really want to know how many chutes it has, but we can't get inside. We found it. Definitely either private property or gated, but we do have a mine. Yep. That's not gonna happen. I bet you this mine is just massive though. It's a huge place. If you're quiet enough, you could hear water dropping, which means there's water coming from the ceiling of the mine. The airflow alone it's quite significant coming out of the mine. I'm not going in. Technically, it's not very difficult to squeeze down below. We're wrapping up this site now. I'm sure there's a couple other buildings we might be able to look at. Not 100%. We kind of seen the main attractions. Really, this was the main attraction. This is what I wanted to see. Kind of a letdown that it's no trespassing, and a letdown that the mine isn't accessible. But either way, if it's private property, then it's, you know, trespassing. If it's forestry land, it's going to be gated up and shut. So it's kind of a lose-lose either way if you think about it. Two last locations before calling it a wrap for today's episode. Down below us is a house, and this is the remains of a house. That might be a wood burning stove. I don't quite know. I'd have to get closer to it. But this looks like land of 10,000 nails, so I'm gonna pass on that one. Interesting house, old miner's house. Another house foundation. This one, old pantry. Nice. Another old log cabin type of style. We see those all the time in these explorations. And down in this washout too is a ton of old houses, except it's all private property, so we can't go up on it.